Okay, so Apple just went and did something nobody saw coming. I mean, a brand new MacBook for a price that's, honestly, kind of shocking. It's called the MacBook Neo, and it is making waves. But you know how it is, right? When a price looks that good, you have to ask yourself, what's the catch? So let's dig in and figure it out together.
All right, here's how we're going to tackle this. First up, we'll talk about that wild price tag. Then, we're diving into the chip that's running the whole show, and you might be surprised where it comes from. After that, we'll get into the fun stuff, the colors, but also the compromises. We'll line them up, Neo versus Air, and see what the real trade-offs are. And finally, we'll get to the big verdict. Who should actually buy this thing?
So for as long as I can remember, getting a Mac has always had this one big hurdle, right? The price. They're amazing machines, but they come with a premium price tag. And that's kept a lot of folks out, especially students who are on a tighter budget.
So you can imagine, when the rumors started flying about a MacBook for under $600, pretty much everyone was like, no way. It didn't sound real. Could Apple actually pull off the full Mac experience for that cheap? Really?
Well, they did it. $599. That is the starting price for the MacBook Neo. And get this, if you're a student, it drops down to just $499. That is by far the most affordable laptop Apple has ever made.
So what's the deal with this thing? Well, the MacBook Neo is officially Apple's new entry-level laptop. Think of it as sitting just underneath the MacBook Air. It's really aimed at students and, everyday users who just need the essentials to get them into that Mac ecosystem.
Okay, but how on earth did they hit that price? Well, it involved a massive change, and it all comes down to what's inside. We're talking about the processor. This is the first Mac ever to run on an A-series chip. Yep, the same kind of chip that's in your iPhone.
All right, let's put these two side by side because this is where it gets really interesting. The Neo's running the A18 Pro. That's the iPhone chip, with a 6-core CPU and a 5-core GPU. Compare that to the MacBook Air's M5 chip, which was designed from the ground up for a Mac. We're talking a 10-core CPU and up to 10 cores for the GPU. But the real kicker? Look at the memory bandwidth. The M5 has more than double the pipeline for data, and that makes a huge difference in how snappy the whole system feels.
And this chart just lays it all out, plain as day. When you look at the raw power, especially for handling multiple tasks at once, the M5 in the MacBook Air just crushes it. We're talking nearly double the score of the A18 Pro. Now, what does that mean for you? Well, for browsing the web, writing emails, that kind of stuff, the Neo is going to feel totally fine. But the second you throw something heavy at it, like video editing or having a million tabs open, the Air is playing a whole different ballgame. Okay, and this is one of the biggest catches right here. The MacBook Neo gives you 8 gigs of memory. That's it, full stop. There's no upgrade path. And while 8 gigs is definitely enough to get by for light tasks on a Mac, it's a hard limit. If you're a power user, you're gonna feel that ceiling and you're gonna feel it fast. All right, let's switch gears and talk about the design, the look and the feel. To get that price so low, Apple did something pretty clever. They gave the Neo this really fun, vibrant personality. But on the inside, well, that's where you start to see some of the big physical compromises. So let's start with the fun stuff, the colors. Forget the usual serious muted tones of the MacBook Air. The Neo comes in these awesome vibrant options. Blush, which is a cool pink, citrus yellow, indigo blue, and a classic silver. This is totally a laptop that's meant to show off a bit of personality. But, okay, now for the not-so-fun part. The keyboard on the Neo, it doesn't have a backlight. Let that sink in. This is the first Apple laptop in over a decade and a half without one, and it's something you don't realize you need until it's gone. And then there's the trackpad. It's a regular old mechanical trackpad, not that magical haptic force touch one that you get on every other MacBook these days. And it doesn't stop there. That base model, the $599 one, yeah, no Touch ID. So if you want that super easy, super secure fingerprint login, you've got to shell out more for the bigger 512 gig model. Another one of those little things that adds up. So we've got a different chip and some pretty major design trade-offs. But wait, there's more. Let's do a quick-fire round of comparisons on some other core features so you can see exactly what you're giving up to save that cash. Okay, this table tells a big part of the story, so let's break it down. First up, ports. The Neo has 2 USB-C ports, but one is the older, slower USB 2. And with no MagSafe, you'll lose one of those just for charging. The Air, on the other hand, gives you 2 super fast Thunderbolt 4 ports and a dedicated MagSafe charging port, which is awesome. Then there's Wi-Fi. The Neo is on Wi-Fi 6E, which is fast, but the Air is already on the next-gen Wi-Fi 7. The display is another big one. The Neo screen is perfectly fine. It's standard sRGB, but the Air screen, that's got the P3 wide color, which just means colors are way more vibrant and accurate, a huge deal for photographers or designers. And finally, if you use external monitors, listen up. The Neo can power one 4K display. The Air can power two 6K displays. That's a massive difference in professional workflows.
And the compromises continue with the camera and speakers. Let's talk video calls. Sure, they're both 1080p cameras, which is good, but the Air's is just better. It's a higher quality 12-megapixel sensor, and it has center stage. You know, that really cool feature that automatically pans and zooms to keep you in the frame. It's awesome. Then there's the sound. The Air packs a 4-speaker system that sounds fantastic. The Neo, it has a more basic 2-speaker setup. Same story with the mics. 3 on the Air for clearer audio, just 2 on the Neo. Again, fine for everyday use, but you'll notice the difference. Okay. We've gone through the chip, the design, the screen, the ports, all of it. So let's bring this all home. After looking at all these compromises, who is this MacBook Neo actually for? Who should buy this thing?
You know, it actually breaks down pretty cleanly. If you're a student, or if you're just looking for a basic laptop for browsing the web, writing documents, and you're on a really strict budget, the MacBook Neo is honestly a great choice. It's your ticket into the Mac world. But if you're a creative professional, if you're a heavy multitasker, or if you need top-notch display quality and connectivity for your job, then you really need to stick with the MacBook Air. It's just built for that next level of work.
And that quote right there really nails it. The whole point of the MacBook Neo is accessibility. It's Apple's way of tearing down that high price wall and inviting a whole new group of people into the Mac ecosystem. It's a strategic play for sure.
So here's the bottom line. The main thing to take away from all this. Yeah, the $500 price difference is the big headline. But that saving isn't just about getting a slightly slower processor. It's about a whole package of deliberate cuts. The keyboard, the trackpad, the display, the ports, even Touch ID. It all adds up.
And that leaves us with one big final question to think about. Has Apple created a new classic for the masses with the MacBook Neo? Something that will finally make the Mac truly accessible? Or have they cut too many corners? Is it a compromise too far for a laptop that still has MacBook written on it? That, I think, is what everyone's going to be debating.